Hi everyone, I'm David Nackashi, and not only am I the CEO of Protochips, I'm also the product manager for AXON. Today we will be giving you a brief introduction to our AXON Studio product. So we just got back from the lab, and we brought our data set over to the office here on a portable hard drive. So the first thing we're going to do is open that data set. So we hit Discover Libraries, we select the library, and I hit Select Folder. And you can see the image just opened up. 2,353 images in the same in this library. So if we expand it, we can see the single session from what we did earlier today. So I'll double click on this, and now the session's opened. So the first thing you'll see is the way Studio is laid out. Over here on the left is the file management system. In the middle is where you're observing all the images. All the metadata, all the sections for providing overlays and plots, everything's arranged here to the right, and then all the plotting and quick views are down beneath it. So it should have a pretty familiar setup. And in fact, you can come through here and change the size of the frames and adjust them accordingly, however you like it. So starting off, you can see there are a few labels on the image. So we'll turn on and off a few. Here's the scale bar and the holder temperature. In this case, the gas and the flow rate. You can see these can all be turned on and off. In addition to that, we can go to this image analysis section, and I'll turn on Show FFT. And what we can do here, if I scrub back and forth, there's not a lot of structure in this image, but if you actually want to see a Fourier transform, some of the other functions in here, radial averages, etc., those can all be controlled right here. So back over to the metadata, let's go ahead and start off by putting a couple of plots down. One, let me first start by moving over to the drift corrected data. And I'll select the holder temperature, and I'll select something called the match correlation. Let's put that up. You can see the plot show up here at the bottom. What I've got is a scrubber as well, so I can scrub back and forth, and you can see all the data we took throughout the session. You can see a preview, the data shows up beneath it. One of the first things you'll notice is this hump in the match correlation, a spike in the data. And what the match correlation is a calculated piece of metadata that tells you when the images are changing substantially from one to the next. So in this case, it shows us that there's a section right here in the middle of our temperature ramp where things were changing pretty rapidly. And what that has to do with is it's the point in the temperature range where we saw the most active part of the reduction of the experiment. And you can see that in the images I go back and forth. You can also come up here, you can see the blue and the orange bar. Those are all of your images that are taken. The blue are the drift corrected images, and the orange are the non-digitally corrected drift corrected images. And if I zoom in, you can see they turn into dots, and those represent the individual images taken. If I move the arrow down to the plot area and I zoom in, I can pan and move around, and this expands things in the Y direction. So you have all these controls available to you when you're looking. So let's go ahead and start by reducing our data set down to the section here that looks the most interesting. The stuff before and after it has some setup, but this is the part maybe we want to share with a collaborator. So there's several ways to do that, but one of them is by using the filtering technique. So the first thing I'll do is I'm going to show filters. I'm going to look at all the available filters, and you can see AXON, you can see Atmosphere, Fusion Select, and in this case I've got the holder temperature already selected. That'll be a good filter for us to use. So we'll come back to the metadata filters. You can see that temperature filter is already here. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to slide this over to somewhere around 400 degrees. And what you'll notice down here is you'll see the areas that are filtered out turn gray in the plots and in the quick view. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. Filter down here. You can see now I've basically reduced. Let's come back again. I've reduced the data set to simply the area where the match correlation is at its peak. So I'll hide the filter. And now what I'm going to do, let's say we want to create a collection specific to that, and I want to come back to this data later. So I'll say create collection. We'll choose say digital and raw. Let's give it a name. David's reduction, and I'll say OK. And just like that, a new collection has been created, 173 images. Now, In this case, we didn't have to duplicate or copy any of the images. All it simply did was tag them in the index file and made them a part of this collection, much like a photo album in a normal photo management application that you would use on your phone or on your computer. So I'll double click this collection to open it up. Okay, so when I open the collection up, you'll notice I have all the same capabilities I would have in the full library. So if I come through here and I plot the holder temperature and I plot the match correlation again, you can see the hump in the match correlation. I can come through and I can go across and scrub back and forth, and I'm now isolated the data to just that one section. So let's say I want to share this with somebody now that I've reduced the size and I've isolated this one area. A couple of ways to do that. One way to do that would be to create a video out of this. So we'll come through here and I'll say publish this section. And let's use the drift corrected data. That's the digital corrected data, and so it's the most stable. Let's say we want to apply the overlays, which would be the temperature and the flow rate in those conditions. And let's make a video out of it, and we'll make an AVI. I've got the option to do all types of things here. Frame rates, adjusting that. Maybe I'll adjust the frame rate to 10 frames per second. And then I'll make a location. Let's put the location on the desktop. Say OK. And I'll call it reduction video. Say OK. Okay, so now that we've created the movie, let's go ahead and open it up. So we'll go down to the File Explorer, go to the desktop, go to Reduction Video, David's Reduction, and I just simply drill down to the area where the movie is. And I'll open this up. Here's the movie, and you can say it's playing. Just like that. I can grab this, move it back and forth, let it finish here. There we go. Now this movie can be inserted into a report, a PowerPoint file, a Word document for a report, anything you need to send this to other people. Something else you can do, which is actually very, very convenient as well, is this data set, this 173 images, you can share this with any of your other collaborators as well. This exists now within the library. You can zip that library up and upload it to somebody to download and use their free copy of Studio to analyze the data just like we are here. They can also create new overlays, they can create plots, and they can create movies and collections out of the data and work much more interactively with it if that's their desire. I hope you enjoyed this brief introduction to AXON Studio. We have big plans for our product and plan to make it an incredibly powerful tool for sharing and analyzing data in a much more interactive way than is possible today. So please go to our website, download your free copy, and share with others. Thank you very much.